Hi everyone. I know we've all been inundated with news about the coronavirus over the last couple of weeks, but I really wanted to talk to you all about the impacts of this virus in relation to our local community here in Bassendean. So like many communities around the world, we are at threat from the coronavirus, and we've seen the devastating impact that it has had on other communities and highlights the need for us here to really come together and support one another to minimise the impact of this disease on the people around us, so our friends, our families, our co-workers, our neighbours and our community more broadly. So one of the things that we love about Bassendean is that strong sense of community that exists here. And now is really the time for our community to rally together to support each other, but particularly those who are the most vulnerable and who are isolated within our town. So last night we had a special council meeting, and it was specifically to talk about the town's response, our stage 1 response to the coronavirus. And I wanted to share with you some of the things that we're planning as a result of that meeting. So what we've done is we've redirected any funds that were originally allocated for events and for grants and sponsorship, and instead we're directing them towards our new community outreach program that we're calling Neighbour Assist. So Neighbour Assist will launch next week, and it has a few components. We're going to be seeking community members who will volunteer to help those people who are in the community that need support, and also asking people who are in need to let those needs be known so that we can help you. There's also going to be a dedicated phone line that will be staffed by Town of Bassendean staff, but also by volunteers, as a way of providing connection to those who are isolated, but also to help with queries that people might have during this period, and to allow people to express the needs that they may have. We'll be letterboxing all of the households in the town because we're aware that not everybody is on the internet or receiving Facebook updates. We want to make sure that the most isolated people that we have amongst us know that the service is available. So if you know of anybody who's in that situation, please let them know that this will be available to them from next week. If the Neighbour Assist program is something that you would like to help out with, we'd love you to get in touch, send an email to the town, and we'll let you know how your services can be used by our community. Now, we're also really aware that our small businesses will be struggling during this period. So we're going to be reaching out to our small businesses to see what needs they have and how the town can assist. We're also going to be promoting the businesses that are making changes to their practices to allow us to access them through takeaway or delivery services. So please make sure that you visit the town's website so that we can support these businesses during these times when we have limited access to go and visit them in person. Now, when it comes to rates for the next financial year, we know that there will be many people within our town who will be finding this to be a particularly difficult financial period for them. So we've decided, or we've asked our staff to prepare a budget for the next year that will have a 0% rate revenue increase. This will allow us to ease the burden on our community, but also to continue delivering the services that our community needs during this time. There's also the proposal for underground power in Eden Hill, and what we've made a decision that if that project goes ahead, then any households who are in the area to receive underground power will not bear the impact of the financial contribution that would be needed to be made until the following financial year, so 21-22 financial year. We're also conscious that there are people who may find it hard to meet these obligations, so the town will work with any individuals who are having particularly challenging circumstances on an individual basis. So in order to keep everybody safe, we've already made a number of changes to the services that operate within the town. So essential services such as our waste collection will continue to operate. All of our events and programs have been cancelled, including our markets. Our customer service and library have been closed, so you can't come in person any longer, but they will be available online, via email and on the phone. Our youth drop-in centre has been closed, as has the RIDE program, and our senior services at Ashfield have been scaled back to the essentials, and our Wind in the Willows childcare centre is continuing to provide a service, particularly to those families where the parents are required to continue working. So most of the items that were on this month's council agenda have been deferred until next Tuesday for an ordinary council meeting. So up until today, local governments were not able to meet remotely, but the regulations and legislation has just been changed as of today, which would allow council to meet remotely as of next week. So we will be continuing to live stream our meetings. People will have access to them, but if people would like to ask questions, we would ask you to provide those questions in advance. So email them through to the town. We'll be very happy to answer your questions during the meeting. There are lots of things at the moment that are outside of our control, and this can be really scary, but there are also lots of things that we can still control, and these are the things that we can focus on and where we can really make a difference. So I encourage each of us to go home tonight and to reach out to our neighbours from a safe distance. Maybe we could call an elderly relative who is feeling isolated. We could support one of our local businesses through an alternative means, so maybe we could order home delivery from one of our local restaurants. Or you could offer to do the shopping for somebody who you know is vulnerable and doesn't want to be leaving their house at this point in time, and drop it at their door so they don't need to have contact. Together we can really slow this disease down and reduce its impact on our community, but it requires each of us to stay home as much as possible and to reduce our social contacts to only those that are absolutely essential. So the modelling shows that in order for us to get this under control, that 80% of us need to be in social isolation as a minimum. So I ask you to please stay home. Every social contact that you sacrifice now is going to make a big difference in the coming weeks, and that difference will be in saving people's lives. So I ask you to put the needs of the wider community ahead of your own individual plans for the time being, so that we can really support and care for those people around us. We have a wonderful community. We are all connected, and if we care for one another, we'll get through this together.